The World Bank has downgraded Armenia's 2022 economic growth forecast from 5.3% to 1.2% in a report published on Sunday, writing that the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on Armenia's economy is likely to be significantly negative. Russia is a major trading and investment partner for Armenia, accounting for roughly a third of Armenia's exports and imports in recent years. Russia is also a major source of remittances and tourists for Armenia, with remittances from Russia amounting to 5% of GDP, and Russian tourists accounting for 40% of all tourists last year. In addition, Russia has significant control over many of Armenia's key economic sectors, particularly in energy, minerals, and food. Russia is the source of all of Armenia's wheat and gas imports. For Armenia, Russia's sanctions-driven financial crisis and the collapse of the ruble are expected to hit remittances, trade and investment hard. As a result, the portion of Armenia's population living in poverty, defined by the World Bank as living on $5.50 per day or less, may reach nearly 40% by the end of the year, according to bank forecasts. At the same time, the World Bank in its report noted that the recent influx of Russians and Russian companies to Armenia, if sustained, may have a positive impact on the economy. And in an act of protest, lawmakers from the opposition Armenia Alliance and I Have Honor blocks brought Karabakh flags to the National Assembly building on Tuesday before walking out of the legislative session. Representatives of the two parties earlier in the day announced that they would be boycotting legislative sessions this week and instead traveling to various border villages in Armenia, as well as villages and towns in Karabakh itself. An unexpected debate over Karabakh's flag has engulfed Armenian domestic politics since the beginning of the month, when opposition parties organized a massive rally in downtown Yerevan, demanding that Armenia make no concessions to Azerbaijan in ongoing peace talks. The April 5th rally ended with representatives of the Armenian Revolutionary Federation placing a Karabakh flag on France Square. Members of a fringe opposition party, the National Democratic Pole, then removed the white chevron that differentiates Karabakh's flag from Armenia's, saying that Karabakh should be part of Armenia and therefore not have its own flag. Armenian political observers lambasted the row over the Karabakh flag as a distraction from the serious and pressing issues the country and region face. Azerbaijan is using all its tools to impose capitulation conditions on Armenia, and fierce battles for the Artsakh flag are taking place in the center of Yerevan, wrote prominent Karabakh analyst Tigran Krikorian on Facebook over the weekend. Meanwhile, Tatul Hagopian, another Karabakh specialist, called the flag row a childish, frivolous and ridiculous struggle in an online column. And finally, Dr. Lawrence Broers, an associate fellow at Chatham House, recently penned an article titled "With Russia Distracted, Azerbaijan Escalates in Karabakh," which discusses the challenges the Russian peacekeepers are facing and the seeming collapse of the OSCE Minsk Group negotiation format. In a CivilNet interview, Dr. Broers talks about Azerbaijan's strategy and why the lack of a clear mandate pertaining to Russian peacekeepers is problematic.
To understand Azerbaijan's strategy, I think we have to go back to the outcomes of the Second Karabakh War in 2020 and two particular legacies of that war for Azerbaijan. First of all, a vastly increased Russian footprint in the country in the form of the presence of the Russian peacekeeping mission in that part of Nagorno-Karabakh that was not recaptured by Azerbaijani forces. The second legacy is the risk of the stabilization of this still unresolved conflict and unresolved situation over the long term. So, although I don't like the language of frozen conflict, there is a risk for Azerbaijan that this context, with its deeper Russian footprint, becomes stabilized and freezes over again into a long-term protracted conflict.